Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Racing Minds podcast. And this week, we are going to talk about the Brazilian Grand Prix. Oh God, wasn't it an exceptional one? We had so much chaos going around in one day, with qualifying and race being both on the same day. Huge props to the personnel for changing the actual qualifying from Saturday to a Sunday, considering the conditions. And huge props to also the teams for improving the safety, building the safety, because we had so many crashes in qualifying, and thankfully and gratefully, no major injuries for the drivers. It goes on to show how much we have progressed in terms of safety for these cars and the trucks and the FIA in general as to allowing when we can qualify, when we should not. So, great job by everyone. And if you like to discuss the race, what else can we start with other than Max Verstappen masterclass? Like, it has been an exceptional race from Max Verstappen. He went on to show why he is a three-time world champion and soon to become a full-time world champion. I mean, starting all the way from P17, thanks to FIA and the red flag in Q2, he made exceptional overtakes. In fact, Christian Horner was comparing Max Verstappen first lap to Donington 1993. That was quite an exceptional scenario as well. So is this. And yesterday, Max went on to show why he is a master in the rain and why he is a three-time world champion. The overtakes he has put out against everyone in the track, one by one. Yesterday, you could say that he was unstoppable. It reminded me of Lewis Hamilton in 2021 Brazil. It was a similar scenario, a similar mindset, and a driver who was driven to go get it no matter what. Max kind of showed that yesterday. Exceptional performance, not a foot wrong in one of the most horrific conditions we have seen in the recent times. So, huge props to Max Verstappen for that. And a quick shout out to Sergio Perez, who, even after 5 cars, have been out of the Grand Prix. And Alonso, in between a kick sauber sandwich, down in the last places, he still managed to score 0 points, which to me is quite shocking to understand. How did he fail to score even a single point in such a chaotic Grand Prix? I mean, at this point, something needs to be done about Sergio Perez. I mean, I don't know what was the actual problem, but it was quite shocking to see him come out with 0 points after that hectic and chaotic Grand Prix. The next thing we can discuss in this race is McLaren. Well, haven't they bottled it up? Well, they were given a P1 and a P3 to begin the race, and their rivals starting all the way from P17, and they somehow managed to come out P7 and below. It's quite surprising. I mean, yes, a bit of it you can put it on the red flag scenario and the situation where they come out from the red flag, but at the same time, the mistakes made by the drivers, especially with Lando Norris, when you see there was a safety car restart after the red flag, he kind of missed the mark in turn one braking. Nothing to take away from Lando. He's an exceptional driver. He has shown what a good talent he is. But when it's World Championship, pressure is mounting. And in these times, I don't think it's that easy for a driver to go on and show the same performances he has been all throughout the year. So, even though he's a good driver, but he was under intense pressure yesterday. It was a make or break. If he would have finished P1, maybe he would have cut off some slump. Or at least initially, when I was thinking after the qualifying, was if Max and Lando finished where they have started, it would have turned the championship upside down. Like if Lando gains 25 points of that race, he would have been 19 points away from Max Verstappen with 3 races to go in the final 3 races. And he would quite become unstoppable. Starting from there and coming back and seeing that Max, in fact, extended his lead after such a chaotic Grand Prix only goes on. I can go on to think that Max is exceptional, one of the generational talents we have right now. Lando is very good, but there's still some work to do. One specific thing I observed, guys, was I was expecting Oscar Piastri to do a Sergio Perez when Max was coming by. I was expecting Oscar Piastri to stop and defend Max so that Max loses time. But he left the door wide open for Max to go through. He was like, I'm letting Lando by. That's all the job I'm doing in this title fight. It's not my job to stop Max and defend Max. He just let him by. It was quite funny. So let's see how things go into the last three races this year. Coming to the next one is Alpine. Such an exceptional performance by the Viry team. I mean, they have gone through so much in the last couple of years, and especially this year, with them scoring as less points as they did before this race. It was one of the worst seasons they were going through as a team. But over the course of the weekend, they did not put a foot wrong. The drivers in qualifying and the team did not make a single mistake, whether in terms of strategy, pit stops, and the drivers in terms of driving on the race in such hectic conditions. Not a foot wrong. An exceptional performance by both the Alpine drivers. In fact, as we all know, there's a huge rivalry between both the drivers, both Ocon and Gasly. They are not the great of friends. In fact, they might be one of the biggest rivals, but yesterday they seem to put everything aside and enjoy and have fun together as a team. It's just quite heartwarming to see scenes like that, but amazing from both drivers. The drive, and it was quite an amazing podium to watch. Both the Alpine drivers with Max Verstappen and Max having not won a Grand Prix since more than 10 races. All three of them were extremely happy to stand on the podium, and very well deserved podium was it. Definitely. Coming to the next part is Mercedes. It was a race of two horses for Mercedes. On one side, you had George Russell, who was actually leading the race at one point of time, and it might as well seem that he would go on and win the race. And on the other side, you had Lewis Hamilton, who was struggling with the car. I mean, I never expected Lewis to struggle with the car so much as he did yesterday. He just hated driving it. In fact, I think he put out a funny note that he might as well go and drive Senna's car for the race because he absolutely hated driving that Mercedes yesterday. He wasn't enjoying it. And it's not typical of Lewis Hamilton when you see of him, especially in these conditions. I would expect Lewis Hamilton to come on top, to go on and win the race. But it was a case where he was constantly going off track. He was struggling to get past with the likes of Colapinto, Behrman. Those were the cars he was actually racing and fighting with. So it was not great to watch Lewis fighting the cars he was fighting, and I'm sure he wasn't enjoying the race as well. But hey, it's the last three races for him with Mercedes, and after that he's going to be off to Ferrari. So I'm sure he's looking forward to not driving this car anymore. But I'm sure we all should enjoy the last three races he has with Mercedes this year. Finally, a quick shout out to FIA. And, it's quite questionable as to what they have done, as to when they have released red flag in Q2. Their point of view was we were letting a few cars finish up their laps. In that case, why not let Max finish his lap? Because he was pushed down to P12. The timing of the red flag was quite skeptical. They should have, if they wanted to put out a red flag, you can see a car rightly visible in the middle of the track. It's not actually in the middle of the track, but it's in a risky position near the track. So it wasn't very difficult to say that you can put out a red flag right away. I'm not sure why they took 40 to 50 seconds to put out a red flag, which is questionable. We don't know what kind of decisions and why they made the decision, and the reasoning they have given out that, oh, we are waiting for a few cars to finish it, was not satisfactory. So FIA, not a great job, especially in qualifying, you see, and also in the race start when Lance Stroll goes on and beaches the car in the formation lap itself. They put an abandoned start. At this point, there's a particular procedure to be followed, a specific procedure and a set of guidelines to be followed, but only a few drivers, like Max Verstappen and a few others around him, stayed in their boxes, not moving because they were waiting for a green light. So in the race, there was an investigation for Lando Norris, Russell, and a few other drivers, and the FIA chose to do nothing. They gave them a €5,000 fine along with a reprimand, which I don't think is, maybe they should have given a time penalty, but no, they were just let go with a small reprimand. If Max was the one who did that mistake, Well, Max wouldn't, because he is the master of the rule book. He knows what to do, what not to do by heart and by head. But if Max was doing the same thing, do you think FIA would just stop with the reprimand? Well, let's see. Alright, guys, just to finally discuss about the Green Grand Prix, it was one of the best Grand Prix we have had in the recent times. Max Verstappen already has one hand over the World Championship. I mean, all he needs to do is keep the same gap after the end of Las Vegas, and the championship is his, and well earned and well deserved World Championship as well. But we still have the World Constructors Championship to go by, with Ferrari and McLaren separated by 36 points. Ferrari has 3 races to catch up and 2 best drivers, so let's see what they can do. So the next 3 races, even if the World Drivers Championship is done, the Constructors Championship is all to play for. Going to be quite exceptional, but the last leg of this 2024 Grand Prix. Thank you so much, guys. If you have any questions, comments, please share them in the comment section below. Please give me a like, share and subscribe. See you after the next race.